My boss promised me a luxury car if I sleep with him. I'm torn between accepting and telling my husband or refusing it. I want to accept, but I'm afraid of how he'll react. Hello, Reddit. I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but I need to get it off my chest. My boss promised me a luxury car if I sleep with him. Now, I'm torn between accepting, telling my husband, or refusing it altogether. The worst part? I want to accept, but I'm terrified of how my husband will react. This isn't a joke. This isn't some exaggerated story for clicks. This is my life right now, and I don't know what to do. Let me start from the beginning. I work as an executive assistant for a high-profile businessman. Let's call him Mr. K. He's powerful, charming, and always gets what he wants. I've worked for him for 3 years, and I've seen him manipulate deals, close impossible contracts, and talk his way out of situations that would sink most people. He's magnetic. The kind of man who turns heads when he walks into a room. And for some reason, he's always been a little too interested in me. At first, I thought it was harmless. A lingering glance, a compliment that lingered just a second too long, a hand on my lower back when guiding me through a door. But I brushed it off. I'm married, and despite the ups and downs, I love my husband. Then, last Friday, everything changed. Mr. K invited me to a private dinner to celebrate the success of a major deal I helped finalize. It wasn't unusual. Executives had these dinners all the time, and I'd been to plenty before. But this time, it was just the two of us. We dined at an upscale restaurant, the kind where the bill for two could cover my rent. The conversation was normal at first: work, industry gossip, upcoming projects. Then, as the second bottle of wine arrived, he leaned in and dropped the bombshell. "I'll make you an offer," he said, swirling his glass. "One night with me, no strings attached, and you'll be driving away in a brand new car. A luxury one of your choice." I laughed. I genuinely thought he was joking. But his expression didn't change. "I'm serious." He listed models: Porsche, Range Rover, a fully loaded BMW. Whatever I wanted. Just one night with him, and it was mine. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My heart pounded in my chest, my stomach twisted. I stammered something about being married, but he waved it off like it was irrelevant. "I know. That's why it's a one-time thing. No complications." The worst part? For a split second, I actually considered it. I've never cheated. Never even entertained the idea. But we're struggling financially. My husband and I have been arguing about money for months. We drive an old car that breaks down constantly. We dream about luxury, about something better, but it's always out of reach. And here was Mr. K, dangling it in front of me like forbidden fruit. I made some excuse and left the restaurant, my mind spinning. That night, I lay awake next to my husband, staring at the ceiling. The temptation was suffocating. A single decision could change everything: our financial situation, my life, my marriage. But the risk. God, the risk. If I tell my husband, how will he react? Would he be furious at me for even considering it? Or would he understand the temptation? What if he leaves me? What if this destroys us? And if I refuse, can I keep working for Mr. K? Will he retaliate? Make my life a living hell? Or worse, what if this was a test, and now he knows I'm weak enough to consider it? I don't know what to do. The thought of that car, of the life it could give us, haunts me. And deep down, I'm terrified of what that says about me. I have to decide soon. Mr. K isn't the type to wait. And that's where I'm stuck. Reddit, what would you do? Edit. I didn't expect this much attention, and I appreciate all the responses. Both the ones urging me to confess and those telling me to take the deal. I wish this were simple. I wish I could say I already made my choice. But I haven't. And now, things are even more complicated. I spent the weekend trapped in my own mind. My husband noticed I was distracted, but I just blamed work stress. He believed me. That made it worse. I kept looking at him, wondering if he knew. Would he still trust me? Would he see me as the woman he married, or as someone else entirely? And yet, the temptation lingered. Every time I thought about saying no, I saw that car in my driveway. No more stress about repairs. No more feeling embarrassed when I pull into work next to my colleagues' sleek vehicles. Just one night. No one would know. Would it even be cheating if it meant securing a better future for both of us? Then, my phone buzzed. I hope you're thinking about my offer. My stomach clenched. I should have ignored it. I should have shut it down immediately. But I didn't. I am. The moment I hit send, I felt sick. My hands shook. That one message made it real. I was entertaining this. I wasn't shutting it down. I was playing with fire and I knew it. His response came almost instantly. Good. Because I'm making it sweeter. Pick any model you want, and I'll throw in an extra bonus, $20,000. No strings. I dropped my phone like it burned me. My chest tightened. This was no longer just a car. This was an escape from stress, from financial strain, from watching my husband's shoulders slump every time another bill arrived. But that's when the guilt crashed over me. My husband. The man who trusts me. The man who kisses my forehead every morning before leaving for work. The man who, just last night, held my hand in his sleep. I had to tell him. I rehearsed the conversation all night, my stomach in knots. Would he be furious? Would he accuse me of considering it? Or worse, would he tell me to take the deal? Morning came. He was drinking coffee, scrolling through his phone, oblivious to the war inside my head. I sat across from him, my throat dry. There's something I need to tell you. He looked up, setting his mug down. What's wrong? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. The words were right there, but I couldn't force them into the air. Instead, I chickened out. Work's been weird. A lie. A half-truth at best. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't risk blowing up my marriage before I even made my choice. He frowned. Weird how? Just stressful. My boss is putting a lot of pressure on me. That was true. Just not in the way he thought. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. Maybe you should quit. Panic shot through me. No. I mean, it's not that bad. Just a lot going on. He studied me for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, but if it gets worse, promise me you'll tell me. I forced a smile. Of course. Another lie. As soon as he left for work, I checked my phone. Another message. I need your answer by Friday. For days. I had 4 days to decide whether to betray my husband or walk away from a life-changing opportunity. I tried to distract myself with work, but I couldn't focus. Every time I walked past my boss's office, I felt his eyes on me. He wasn't pushing, wasn't saying anything out of line, but he didn't have to. The offer hung in the air between us, unspoken but ever present. And then, as if the universe wasn't already testing me enough, my car broke down. Again. I was leaving work when it happened. I turned the key, and instead of the usual sputter before it came to life, there was nothing. Just silence. I tried again. Nothing. I banged my hands on the wheel, fighting back tears. I called my husband. It's dead, I said. Completely dead. He sighed. I'll come get you. We'll figure it out. We both knew what that meant. Towing fees. A repair we couldn't afford. More stress. More fights. I sat there, staring at my reflection in the rearview mirror, and for the first time, I thought, what if I said yes? What if I just did it? No one would ever know. It would be over in one night. A transaction. But could I live with myself afterward? The next morning, I did something reckless. I went to the dealership. Just to look. Just to imagine. I ran my fingers over the smooth leather seats, inhaled the intoxicating scent of a brand new car. A salesman approached, eager, smiling. Thinking of upgrading? If only he knew. I left before I could do something stupid. But now, I can't stop thinking about it. For days. Time is running out. Edit 2. I didn't sleep last night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw 2 different futures playing out in my mind. In one, I was behind the wheel of a sleek, brand new luxury car, the smooth leather cool under my fingertips, the smell of success surrounding me. In the other, I was sitting across from my husband, watching his face as I confessed everything, waiting for the moment his love for me shattered into something unrecognizable. I had 3 days left to decide. The next morning, I went through my routine in a haze. My husband kissed me before leaving for work, completely unaware that his wife was weighing the cost of betrayal. I couldn't eat. I could barely think straight. I needed clarity, but all I had was noise, guilt, temptation, fear, desire, all battling for control. By noon, I caved and texted Mr. K. I need to talk. In private. He responded immediately. My office. Now. I hesitated before stepping inside, my palms damp. He was seated at his desk, effortlessly confident, the kind of man who never doubted that the world would bend to his will. He gestured toward the chair across from him. Have you made your decision? I swallowed hard. Not yet. His lips curved into a knowing smile. But you're considering it. I said nothing. He stood, walking around the desk, leaning against the edge so that he was close, too close. His cologne was intoxicating, a mix of power and control. You're overthinking this, he said smoothly. It's simple. One night. No one finds out. You drive away in a car that changes your life. He tilted his head. Or you keep struggling. Keep waiting for things to magically improve while you scrape by in that broken-down excuse for a car. His words hit harder than I wanted them to. I hated that he saw through me, that he knew exactly where my weak spots were and how to press them. I took a shaky breath. And if I say no? He sighed as if I were exhausting him. Then nothing changes. You keep your job. I move on. But let's be honest. When's the last time someone offered you something life-changing with no risks, no consequences? No risks, no consequences. That was a lie, and we both knew it. But when I left his office, I still didn't have an answer. That night, my husband and I sat in the living room, the silence between us thick. He was reading something on his phone, completely unaware that I was about to destroy everything we had. I opened my mouth, then shut it. My heart pounded. If I told him, what would happen? Would he be furious? Would he leave? Would he think less of me for even considering it? Or worse, would he tell me to take the deal? Instead, I said, do you think we'll ever get out of this hole? He looked up, frowning. What do you mean? I mean, the money problems. The stress. It feels like we're always one bad month away from drowning. He ran a hand through his hair. Yeah, I think about it all the time. His voice softened. But we'll figure it out. We always do. I wanted to believe him, but I wasn't sure I did. I almost told him then. Almost said the words that had been clawing at my throat since the moment Mr. K made his offer. Instead, I whispered, I love you. He smiled, squeezing my hand. I love you too. I didn't sleep that night either. The next day, my boss cornered me after a meeting. You have until tomorrow. Tomorrow. Time was up. I drove home in silence, my mind racing. When I pulled into the driveway, my husband was outside, staring at my car with a look of pure frustration. I stepped out hesitantly. It's dead, he muttered. Again. I looked at the car. The rust, the dents, the exhaustion of something that had been pushed past its limit too many times. And then I made my decision. I walked inside, grabbed my phone, and texted Mr. K. My answer is no. I stared at the message for a long time before hitting send. My chest felt lighter. My head felt clearer. I didn't want my life to be built on secrets, on betrayals, on something I could never take back. Minutes later, my phone buzzed. Disappointing, but I expected as much. Consider this deal closed. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. When my husband came inside, rubbing his temples in frustration, I walked up to him and wrapped my arms around him tightly. We'll figure it out, I said. And for the first time in days, I truly believed it. Because no amount of money, no car, no luxury, was worth what I almost lost.